Get a haircut? Really? Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's a regular meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District Board of Education. Tonight is January 6, 2016. Call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. At this time, I'd like to introduce the principal of Wickland School to come on up and give us some introductions on who will be leading us in a pledge.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Nicholas, members of the community. I'm pleased to be here this evening to share that our wonderful ASB scholars are going to be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's have our scholars come on up. We have Miss Batista. Come on up. So we'll start from right here, and that's it. And Davis, I totally forgot her name. I'm drawing a blank right here going, oh my gosh, I'm on like
the pressure of the big stage.
Record going,
I give you a lot of
how do I
credit
go over
for
that
admitting
one
it.
and try to like, so you guys will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And now for your presentation.
All right, well, I'm very pleased to have our scholars from ASB come on up. We have a few that are going to present this evening about their work at Wickland and what they're doing to lead. I'd also like to recognize and thank one of our ASB advisors, Ms. Foster, who's been working tirelessly with our ASB in a multiple variety of capacities, leadership, mentorship, and really guiding these fine scholars here who are going to lead us in a presentation of some of the key things that we're doing this year. So I'll turn it over to you, ladies.
Okay, so we're here to represent Wickland's ASB, and I'm the president of ASB. Ellie's the director of publicity, and Ashley's the director of activities.
Speaking to the microphone.
Oh, there's a microphone. Okay. So, student leadership. ASB is made out of student leaders. ASB stands for Associate Student Body. We help set positive examples for peers, and we participated in the Mountain House High School homecoming parade as the Incredibles. The float took a while, and we had some malfunctions, but we managed to get it done. We also participated in Red Ribbon Week from October 27th to the 31st. Students in leadership class meet twice a week to help plan character counts lessons. We write and rehearse skits for the Friday focus assemblies and the character count assemblies, or the student of the month.
At our school, Wickland, we have student intervention and enrichment, which is basically helping grades K through 8 with our MAP scores, which will help us get us into college and everything we need to actually survive in life. We also use this enrichment time for choir, yearbook, leadership, science Olympiad, math Olympiad, and academic pentathlon, which are a few of our clubs at Wickland. This is in addition to other electives that we do.
So Friday Focus is the first Friday of every month. An assembly is held to teach scholars about the character trait of the month. Scholars explain and present the expectations and character trait for the month, and the ASB leadership team led team building activities, performed skits, and presented to our peers. After the first Friday assembly, scholars participate in class discussions, writing assignments, other character counts lessons. So, like, for example, if we were in the month of respect, our ASB officers led a team building activity called landmines, and it involved bowling pins. So you would set out the bowling pins, and then you'd have a partner. And the person who was walking through the pins had to close their eyes and listen to the person who was directing them. And listening is an example of respect. Okay, so examples of character education lessons are on there. I don't know how to open it, but. And so the scholars at our school had to look at that assignment, and they had to self-evaluate themselves based on, and discover if they were respectful or not. And then the other link. It was about responsibility. And all of these scholars looked through that on Friday and determined if they were responsible or not. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation, ladies. Appreciate you guys being here tonight.
Nice job.
Thank you. I'd like to thank them for doing that, and I do appreciate what they did, because that's new for us this year, these Friday focus lessons. And I would like to thank Ms. Foster for bringing that to us as part of our PBIS support and running that through leadership and having kids actually lead this versus the typical approaches have parents, or not parents, but parents are a part of it, but adults, teachers, principal running it. This is generally from the students and the leadership team running this with the kids in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So it's a ground-up approach, and we're very excited. It's new this year, so appreciate all that work. And I think your hard work's paying off, because I can't think of any 6th, 7th, 8th grade issues that we're really having at all at Wickland. So that's a good culture change for us. So thank you for that. And thank you, board, Dr. Nicholas, for your time. We appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to move on with the regular meeting. If you guys would like to go ahead and go home and do homework or whatever you have to do, all right? Or you can stay.
You can stay for our thrilling meeting if you'd like.
Roll call.
Matthew Balzerini.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Sharon Lampel.
Here.
Shane Nielsen.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Samantha D. Tiberis.
Here.
Approval and/or corrections of the agenda.
We have one. Director Sherburne was not feeling well tonight. She had a presentation planned, but we are going to bump it off for a couple weeks and do it at our next board meeting.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Employee recognition.
I'd like to ask Allison Mooney to come up here to the podium to be acknowledged for some excellent work in our district with our youngsters. Anyone who's been in a 5th grade class knows there's a lot of energy, and it goes all over the place all the time. I had the fortune of being able to attend 2 of her above and beyond student experiences that she created, one being an English tea, the other being the creation of slime, which was a science project. So flashing up here are some pictures of her work. What you can't totally tell from the pictures is this is more than one classroom worth of kids that are in there, and she's managing for the lion's share of it, all of it with her own energy and leadership. If you don't know her, she's got a quiet disposition, but she's got a great aura and energy about her, and the kids absolutely love and adore her. So it's really nice when we have lots of teachers doing beautiful stuff. But was invited to 2 events. I had Vegemite for the first time in my life. For those of you who have never eaten that stuff, it's great in the song from the 1980s. It's not so great in my opinion, but I do want to thank Allison for that opportunity to eat what is a bitter spread. So with no further ado, I'd like to offer a certificate of recognition for not only what she does in the classroom every day, her role as the Science Olympiad advisor, but also for some really cool stuff for kids. So if we could have a round of applause for Allison and her effort.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You gotta go sit front and center right there. Thank you very much. Excellent work.
Smile. One more.
Thank you very much. Okay, that'll take us to our consent items for consideration. Item A is approval of governing board meeting minutes from December 9th. There's an updated copy for everyone. There was a single typo, and the updated copy will be on the website. Item B is approval of purchases, contracts under $25,000. There's several. Item C, approval of the 2015-16 hires. There's 3. Item D is approval of the 2015-16 Mountain House High School coaches. There's 3 of those. And item E, acceptance of 2 resignations. Item F is approval of updated 2015-16 fundraisers. And item G is an acceptance of a donation, $1,000 from CSBA business affiliates to the Lammersville Unified School District Foundation.
I'll move for approval of consent items as presented.
Second.
And I believe we have a little further.
Yes, so we happened to catch a part of the CSBA Golden Bell Awards in a very nice function and some video of our board as good work and our community's good work on our strategic plan. So we thought we'd share that with the community tonight.
The second bell goes to Lammersville Joint Unified School District for Lammersville Joint Unified School District Strategic Plan. Accepting the award are
Board Member David Pombo, Superintendent Kirk Nicholas.
You rang the bell? Nice.
So President Balzerini, those 3 gentlemen, one was the president of CSBA, the other one was the chief executive officer. Am I correct?
Chris Unger is the new CSBA president as of after the conference.
The second one was because we came across the stage as we were also asked to come back up on stage and receive the following check for $1,000.
In addition to receiving a Golden Bell Award, CSBA's Business Affiliate Program is awarding a $1,000 sponsorship award to Lammersville Joint Unified School District for its Lammersville Joint Unified School District Strategic Plan Program. Again, congratulations to Lammersville Joint Unified School District. Come on up.
How did you get that check on the plane?
So we decided we were going to go for it, and we wanted to present it to the board at a meeting. And so I want to present it first to... Now, people have seen the story of the thing that travels the world and comes back with all the stickers on it. Well, this thing made it through a security check, a fight between an airline steward and a passenger who didn't like where we put it. It made it through unscathed, unbent, but I want to thank Colin and David for helping getting it through what was a maze. But the $1,000 is in our district foundation and will be applied to a program in the future to some kids. And I also want to compliment Trustee Clements, who happened to find 5 additional of the programs to be distributed to our board. So I'd like to pass these forward.
I can donate mine back to the district. I have a couple of extra copies.
Very good. Okay, I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to recognize the new hires, please. I'd like to welcome the following people to Lammersville Unified. Meyer Khan, an evening custodian. Atafa Safdari, noon duty supervisor and instructional aide. Angelica Seiko, an instructional aide. And Devin Aaron, head coach for varsity softball. Leticia De Leon, assistant coach for girls varsity basketball. And Francisca Soto Becerra, head coach for girls varsity soccer, and to thank them for everything they do with our students.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
District Administrative Reports, item A, Superintendent's Report.
I have a couple of items to cover. This week, actually late last week, we received what's called the Accountability Progress Report. It's tied to the federal funds that the district gets to serve students for particular subgroups. The amount of money our district gets because of our demographics is very, very small, but whether you have a small student population in these subgroups or not, there's still requirements that you have. I thought I'd share it with the board tonight because it seems it's maybe the last step of the life cycle of No Child Left Behind, because all of the sanctions that came through program improvement districts and program improvement schools were all kind of tied to this report. Our district, out of 19 criteria, met all 19 criteria. So it's really excited when you see it. So here's kind of where we're at in the transition from No Child Left Behind back to the return of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. All 19 criteria have to do with participation rate and attendance rate. So they have not set a bar for what they will determine as this is you meeting in the old system what is proficient or advanced. So there is no number to tie our student academic numbers to, but we have exceptional attendance that's right around 97%, which far and exceeds the 90% threshold, and we had 99% participation, which exceeds the 95%. So congratulations to our school sites. It's a lot of hard work, especially with kids getting sick and the like. In the future, high school graduation rates, some other ideas are out there that they're playing with, but that one for sure, and an achievement target will be set, but that doesn't exist now. So what I can say is, in terms of the very small amount of title funding, Title I, Title II, Title III funding that we receive, we've met the requirements. There's no negative statements like program improvement levels changing or anything like that. But it may be, because No Child Left Behind doesn't really have anything to it anymore, that this might be the last time that this report comes across this way. So I thought I would share that with you. I also wanted to give a negotiations update. Over the process of the last 8-10 months, we negotiated with our Teachers Association. There were 8 issues being negotiated, a very short period of time. 7 of the 8 we came to resolution. Most of it was around language and stipends for teacher participation in organizations and help, like kids sports and programs. We had one sticking point. Sometimes getting to yes takes longer than others, but we had a gap in our negotiation between a 1 year, 9% salary schedule request and 1,038 on the salary schedule from the Teachers Association and the district's offer of a 2-year 7.5% offer. I want to thank Ron Bennett and of School Services of California and Laura Schultz of the California Teachers Association, who met with us in a final bargaining session where we came to what's called a tentative agreement. That's a very important step in the process. We were able to come to an agreement on the salaries and benefits. So that tentative agreement was a 7% over 2 year on the salary schedule, 4% in this school year 15-16, 3% in 17-18, I'm sorry, 15-16, 16-17. And then 0.5 on the health benefits, which is approximately $600, and then an additional 0.5 in 16-17 on benefits, an additional $600. So I wanted to thank the LTA bargaining team, our presidents here, Rebecca Mabus, Tawny Zemlock, and Mike Herron. We got through it, and we have a couple more steps to go in this process. It's very formal. So there is a teacher ratification process, and if approved, then it goes to our county for analysis and approval, and then it would come to this board for ratification approval, and then we kind of complete the steps. So we're in great shape. The TA is a very important step in the process. The teacher ratification, county checkoff, board ratification are the final steps we have in this process. And then finally, after a long journey to get to this end, I can announce tonight we are test piloting streaming. If there are no more technical glitches, we will be streaming our January 20th board meeting for here on out. And I want to thank Alvina and our tech team. They work very, very hard. It seems easy to do for lots of differing reasons. It took way too long. I want to apologize to the board for that journey, but we are there. And we're doing a test tonight, and moving forward will be a streaming organization.
That is my report. Thank you very much.
So what is the test? Who can see it tonight?
We have a few family members we have to.
Any other questions from the board?
I just wanted to thank, the representatives of the teachers union and district staff for all their work in putting together the agreement. Thank you very much.
Okay, item B is district maintenance operations report. Ms. Kaiser?
Mr. Nolan has retired as of December 31st. Had a meeting with him, so we kind of discussed all the items, all the items he was able to accomplish in his time that he was here, and also some of the outstanding items that we continue to work on. One of the disappointments we had, and we're working on it, is the Altamont carpet replacement. They did not complete the number of classrooms they stated they would complete. Mr. King from NMR is coming out on Friday and will be making a site visit. We're taking pictures of any of the items of our warranty issues that have not been resolved. We are meeting with Turner next week so we can review those. We have many items that have a 3-year warranty, so we're trying to come to a resolution to each of them.
And Turner's being responsive?
I will know next Wednesday.
Okay.
I know there's some issues with locks. We have a little bit of settling water puddles over at the high school, so pictures are, especially for this week, we're taking pictures to share those with Turner. Another thing I wanted to mention is the Gophers.
Have they drowned?
I had hoped so. No, and they are not able to treat it.
The SPCA will be contacting you directly.
They're not able to put the treatment because of the water, so they have to wait till the water stops before they can treat to get rid of the gophers. I know we had some issues over at Quest as well. Dirt has been filled there, but it could take 6 months of filling those holes before we kind of see the best improvement. They're really, not just here, they're taking over everywhere. I've even heard of them in Stockton too, so. And then I think the last point I wanted to make was we're putting together the furniture order for the high school for that last wing. There's about 10, 12 classrooms, I think, that we still need to get furniture for. That is it.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions? No? Committee reports. Item A, facilities use. We had our meeting. There's going to be, we have a handbook update that's coming up in action items. And the meeting was so far long ago, I don't remember if there's anything else to mention. No? Okay. Record time, we finished in an hour. It was great. That part was great. Item B, District Advisory Committee.
We haven't had a meeting.
Okay, no meeting. Item C, District English Language Advisory Committee.
We haven't had a meeting since the last school board meeting.
Okay,
The next meeting is the 27th of January.
thank you. Item D, Gate Arts Music. No meeting?
We have not had a meeting since our last board meeting.
Happy holidays. Item E, Safety and Crisis Response. There was a meeting, just ongoing discussion with the committee about a large-scale drill in the spring. And then also, there's a district's purchased a new radio communication system for emergencies, so each site can communicate on radio to the district office in case the phone system goes down. So there was some funds for that. Item F, Wellness.
We've not had a meeting since our last board meeting.
Okay. And as promised, we're going to do a shuffle. So for next year, facilities use, the chair will be Trustee Nielsen, and Trustee Pombo will be on that committee. The DAC committee will be Trustee Clemens and myself. DLAC will be Trustee Lampel and Clements. And Gate Arts Music will be Trustee Lampel and Nielsen. I will continue on with Safety and Response, and Trustee Pombo will continue with Wellness.
Do you know when the next gate meeting is scheduled?
Are they all on?
We'll update all the dates.
Okay.
Holiday season kind of.
Yeah.
Because it's not on here.
Okay,
No, it's not on there. I asked.
very good. Thank you. Governing board reports. Trustee Clements? I'm sorry.
I don't have a board report today.
No board report. Okay.
First, I wanted to say that I attended the Mountain House High School winter concert on December 11th, which was right after the last school board meeting. It was an incredible performance. I was shocked and stunned. I mean, I go to football games and I listen to the marching band from our competitors, our opponents, and I think to myself, our marching band is better, but our choir, the marching band, and the orchestra were phenomenal. So I want to give kudos to Mr. Excel and the entire music faculty. It was awesome. I also had the pleasure of attending the beginning segment of the district-wide training on Monday. And it was a great opportunity to chat with teachers and district staff and site staff. And I wanted to thank district staff for extending the invitation for me to be able to attend that. That's all my report in for today.
Trustee Pombo?
I had the pleasure of attending the Winter Festival at Altamont Elementary. Got to sample the tamales, which were excellent, and also was able to win a few baskets at the silent auction. I enjoyed that. I also attended music programs at Altamont, Wickland, Lammersville, and the high school, along with my fellow trustee. I was blown away by all the performances at all the schools that I attended. We have some extremely dedicated music instructors and some very talented students all the way from the little kids up through high school. Very enjoyable concerts. I was also, during the break, able to attend numerous Mustang basketball games, and although we didn't win them all, we have very competitive teams at all levels, both boys and girls basketball. Very enjoyable to go out there. More people should come out and partake. And I also attended the professional development at the high school on Monday and saw teachers collaborating, learning, and sharing. And I believe that these professional development days are extremely valuable way for our staff to work together. And that is the end of my report.
Trustee Lampel?
Well, unfortunately, before the holidays, I was quite ill and unable to attend any of these fabulous music performances. I was very disappointed. But I have heard the band, the marching bands, and I know the work that Mr. Rexell is doing. I saw something about a dinner honoring Mr. Rexell. If you could get information to the board about that?
Yes.
It was something, because I would absolutely like to attend that. And the sports that I did not see, but, you know, our Mustangs beat the Delhi Hawks. And that's my report.
Very nice.
That was tough to go to work the next day.
Trustee Nielsen?
I'll start my report with an apology to the Facilities Use Committee. I was unable to attend the last meeting. My schedule has become rather cumbersome. While that's no excuse, it's just an explanation of where things are. I was glad to be able to shift around and see some of the committees change a little bit, because I've been really interested in trying to take advantage of some of the things that we're doing in our music department. The school district does some amazing things with regards to the traditional education, but I really think we need to start, and in listening to the music teacher at the Wickland performance, discuss what we could do. There's more. We're not, I don't believe, my own personal perspective, I don't believe we're doing enough in the areas of gait and art and music for our students. I recognize that we have limitations both financially and time-wise, but I'm hopeful that Ms. Lampel and I, in serving on this committee, will be able to try to find creative ways to address these issues. The kids in our district don't get enough of this. Most kids in most districts don't. But that, to me, is no reason we can't find creative ways to try to address these, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And lastly, I'm hopeful that the district as a whole is going to be able to take advantage of where we are today, where we've come from over the last few months, and recognize that the path we were on wasn't beneficial to either side of this dais. That we have gotten away from what used to be referred to when I first was appointed to the school board as the Lammersville way, When I was appointed to the school board, I was the first resident of Mountain House to be on the school board. And to be honest with you, I was shocked that they even put me on the board. The 4 members of the Lammersville community, I'm sure, heard and looked at us in Mountain House as outsiders. And I do believe some people in Lammersville still consider us that. But those 4 people looked at me and looked at us as an opportunity to say, no. This isn't about you and us. This isn't about one side or the other. This is about the Lammersville way. And I heard that phrase repeated over and over through the years we served on the board. The Lammersville way. The Lammersville way has always been about what is now the 4,000 plus students that we serve on a daily basis. It's never been about personality. It's never been about politics. It's never been about winning and losing. It's always been about what can we do for those 4,000 plus now students that we're here to serve. Again, on both sides of this dais. I'm extremely hopeful that we can get off the path we were on and turn back down Lammersville way so that we can get back to making decisions and doing things for the right reasons, and that's for our students. And that ends my report.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear your passion for Gate Arts and Music because I really wanted to be on that committee, and unfortunately we can't all be on these committees, so I'm glad to hear that you're so passionate and will lead the charge in my place.
I look forward to working with Sharon, too.
Yeah, both of you. I know you are, too.
I've taught Gate, yeah.
So I attended the band, choir and orchestra at the high school as well and was extremely impressed. Standing room only. We definitely need a theater. So, but had a great time, and it was, like I said, very impressed. Wonderful performance. Trustee Pombo and I went to the beautiful Stockton to go to the California Ethics Laws Conference or presentation that Assemblymember Eggman put on.
Can I interrupt you? The irony of an ethics discussion in Stockton. I'm sorry.
We don't have authority over that.
I'm just...
Anyway, they hosted it and put it on, and what we were told is they said, wow, of course, all the people that should be here aren't, but anyway.
There you go.
And also I wanted to share with the board that at our last meeting, I explained this whole process where Sherry didn't get elected president-elect. Well, Sherry's decided that she doesn't want to be the director. So I'm going to remain as the director of Region 8 for the rest of the year. So I will not be running for delegate assembly. I'll be attending our next board meeting with CSBA at the end of the month in Sacramento for 3 days, where we're going to talk about mostly legislation and trying to deal with some legislative issues from education in Sacramento. And CSBA also is holding its annual legislative day. If you guys don't have the date, let me know. I'll send you the email over. But if you have the time and you can go up there and talk to our legislators and let them know where we're at, especially in the area of LCFF, I really want to make it a priority that our legislators understand that LCFF has not been good to our district. That while, in theory, I'm sure that I know our governor believes it's a good idea and it's helping the right students. In the process, it's hurting other smaller districts that don't have numbers in those categories like ours. So that's kind of my agenda for the year, is to really drive that home with our legislators so they understand. And that is the end of my report.
If I could add, I found what I had seen. It's the Marching Band Dinner Awards Potluck, and I think they were honoring Mr. Rexell at that. Yeah. So, and that is Saturday from...
Oh, shoot.
It's blue. It's black on blue.
This Saturday?
It's hard to read. This Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. in the multipurpose room. And unfortunately, I can't make it. I didn't realize it was on Saturday.
Saturday, I think
But
I can do.
that honor is warranted.
If you could get me the date of the legislation,
Sure, I'll get that for you.
see if I can make it up there.
I believe it's March. I'll double check though.
I can do that. 7 to 9.
Receiving a public comment. I don't have any public comment cards. Is there any public comment? Moving on to action items. Item A, consider approval of independent auditor selection for the 2015-16, for 2015-16, Chikella and
Tokunaga.
That's what I said.
Yes.
Staff report.
I'll let our CBO, Alvina, I'll defer to her for A and B.
We had 8 proposals received, and this is a company we actually are already doing business with, and so we would continue at least one more 3-year term. I know that there's a maximum. I was going to double check that, but I know at least a minimum of 6 years is fine.
Is it 6? For some reason, I thought it was shorter than that.
Any board discussion?
No.
Move to approve independent auditor selection for 2015-16 Chikella and Tokunaga LLP.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, consider approval of audit certification form for the annual audit report ending June 30th, 2015. Any additional report?
It's our annual report. I know the auditors have offered to come out. Usually when you have audit exceptions, it's ideal to have them come out. We have fortunately have not had an audit exception since the first year Bethany opened. So kudos to all the staff and the sites who keep their documents in order.
And for the public that does not read all of this information, this is a very detailed report that we get in our packets. It goes from page 34 to 142. So,
Yes, and after it's approved tonight, I will put it separately on the Sharp School website under Business Services. I have an audit section now where every year is listed there. It's easier to find.
Any other board comments?
While the board is, and obviously district staff is aware of it, I just wanted to put it on the record since, that there is a restatement that was discussed a year ago. It is a fairly large restatement, but it was due to changes in the Governmental Accounting Standards Board's pronouncements. It wasn't a mistake. It's just a change in the way the government was directing us to account for stuff. So I wanted it on the record that we noted it and discussed it.
I move we approve the audit certification form of the annual audit reporting ending June 30th, 2015.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, consider approval of updated 2015-16 intra-district transfer requests. Any staff report?
None.
I'll move for approval as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, consider approval of amendment number 4 to the 2015-16 facility use rental handbook. Any staff report?
No, we put some detailed information on the discussed changes, and one of our other committee members is here tonight, and we have another meeting scheduled next week, Tuesday, 6:30.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Tuesday.
Mr. President, I do have one proposed wording revision.
Okay. Where are we at? Let me see.
Page 143.
On page 143 of the PDF, number 14, extreme risk activities, the paragraph reads, hazardous risks, open parenthesis, but not limited to. I think it should read hazardous risks, open parenthesis, including but not limited to. Minor change.
Adding a word, including.
Thank you for that.
Move to approve amendment number 4 to the 2015-16 facility use rental handbook as modified.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that. Item E, consider approval of senior student earned privilege off-campus lunch pilot plan through May 2016. Staff report?
We brought forward, after presentation from Principal Faubert and students et al. From the high school, this is the formal approval of the pilot that they presented.
And I would like to move for approval of the senior student earned privilege off-campus lunch pilot plan through May of 2016.
Second.
Good.
I do have a couple of questions.
Okay.
I'm in favor of it, but the purpose statement says allow senior students. It's pretty minor, but I would propose that it say allow qualifying senior students to. The next one is, one of the requirements is that all drivers must have a driver's license. I think we should change that to all drivers must have a valid California driver's license. My reason for that is if they move here from another state, the other state might have different driving law rules and restrictions I think that the seniors should get a California driver's license.
Well, if they're living here, they have to do it within 10 days, so.
And then I do have a question for the board on the restriction that they must have an appropriate amount of credits to graduate. That's one of the restrictions. When I read that, as I was reading the packet, that seems like they have to be almost graduated, and I think what we're trying to say is they have to be on track to
Yeah.
graduate.
Yeah.
But the way it reads is they have to have enough credits to graduate.
Just add on time.
Yeah.
Yeah, on track to graduate or
So
something
you just
like that.
put credits to graduate on time.
And I know those are all pretty minor, but
Does anyone have any opposition to that?
No.
Any other questions or comments?
I just to Mr. Faubert and to the students, to thank them once again for the effort and the energy that they put into presenting that. That's it's something that I wish all of our ASB students and all of our schools sites could see what can happen when you decide you want to try to do something. That if you approach things from the right way, come in with a plan, come in with an idea, and you can see it through to fruition. And I'm glad to be able to support it.
I agree. So
I will amend my motion.
Thank you.
To approve the senior student earned privilege off-campus lunch pilot program plan through May 2016, to include Trustee Clement's changes to the wording.
Second.
first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Information discussion items. Item A, first reading of revised board policies and administrative regulations 5111, 5144.4, 5113.1, and exhibit 5145.6. Staff report on that?
These are SCSBA recommendations. Any specific questions, I'll defer to Dr. Gill.
Any questions?
I did. I had one minor one. Let me find it. I wrote in my notes that it was page 174, but my pages can't be there. Oh, on page 174, it's the AR 5144.4. There's a note there. So I'm assuming that the note is there just for us to review in the first reading, that comes out when it's finalized. That was all I had.
Thank you. Item B, update on child welfare and attendance policies, discipline.
I've asked Dr. Gill to prepare a very short presentation. She put a lot of work in a year and a half ago into a child welfare and attendance policy with discipline procedures and the like. So we put in some things there. The rules have changed a little bit, so we wanted to update the board and the community on what some have-tos are now that weren't necessarily the expectation a couple years ago.
Good evening, Governing Board, Mr. President and Dr. Nicholas. It's my pleasure to share with you some of the updates on the CWA policies and some of the laws, basically. So the first one I would like to share is the 48900K, which is one of the school student discipline education codes on defiance. Previously with the 48900K, students were allowed to be suspended, even potentially expelled, and all sorts of things used to happen. With the new changes, no expulsions can happen with K. For defiance, the students cannot be expelled, and kindergarten through third grade students or TK to third grade students cannot even be suspended with K. Upper grade students can potentially be suspended only after site administration can show over and over and over that they have tried every single method, every single thing, multiple ways of trying, working with the students, and so on. Teacher can still suspend a student from their classroom for K for being defiant, because those get only suspended from the teacher's classroom at that time, but not necessarily from the school. So that's an update on K. Also, CDE actually took most of these new ed codes and did a beautiful job by developing this matrix. I'll put a few copies in the back as well for the audience afterwards, and you received a copy. So I'm going to share with you through these slides what the matrix basically says, which is really good because usually these ed codes are like hundreds of pages, difficult to understand, difficult to read. This is a very generic document for literally anybody to understand. So the first column describes that, which I will go into in a second. But before that, I just want to share with you that any suspensions and expulsions, they don't only can be happen not only for the students are at school, but also the school and the district has a jurisdiction not only at school, but even when the kids are coming to school and going home from school. If the child goes home, put their backpack at home, and then leaves, then it's out of our jurisdiction. Okay. However, if a child goes home and puts their backpack away but does something that comes back to school, which is called nexus, then the child can be disciplined for that. So such as putting something out there for bullying or putting something on YouTube, and a fight happens because of that at school, then it's called nexus, so something like that. And during lunch period, especially off-campus lunch, so seniors should be thinking about that. So if they do something while they're on off-campus lunch, they can get disciplined for that. And then also any school-sponsored activity, during the school-sponsored activity, coming and going to and from the school-sponsored activity, we have a jurisdiction on that one as well. So the next slide that I'm going to share, that's the one I was mentioning through this metrics right here that CD just put out in June. The first one is there are 5 mandatory expulsions for 5 different reasons. One of them is possessing, selling, and furnishing a firearm, brandishing a knife at another person, not possessing a knife, but brandishing. That's the difference. And then selling drugs, even if it's worth $2, as long as they are marijuana or any kind of other drugs or something like that. And which this not used to be true before. This is 48915C3, one of the ed codes, and then also sexual assault and sexual battery, and then possession of explosives. So these are must recommendations from the sites and must expulsions by the board. The next one, which is the second column in the metrics, those are can be must, but depending on a situation. So, for example, a site can recommend can recommend, but the board may or may not expel based on the situation. So, for example, if a child brings a knife to school but they did not brandish it, and there is a reason for it, based, you read every single situation, differently based on those kind of things. And the next one is, next 2 slides actually is the third column in the metrics, which is a site may recommend a student for expulsion or suspension, suspend them but recommend them for expulsion, and the governing board may expel them. It depends on each situation, depending on the seriousness, depending on the danger to other students, safety of the students, safety of the staff, and all sorts of things. And then also the frequency of these things happening as well. And these last 2 slides that I want to share, this one specifically talks about the number of days. Students can only be suspended at a time for 5 school days. No more than 5 school days at a time, unless the student is sitting out because of an expulsion hearing. Then we work with the parent. There is a waiver the parents sign, and we go through that process. And then the final one is a student cannot be suspended more than 20 days in a school year, or 30 days if there are special circumstances, such as the student moved from another school, student is given opportunity because they're having some adjustment issues, or some special circumstances within the student, any other situations like that. So, and with those also, we work with the parents and the students when anything like that happens. And that's just a quick summary of the new updates with the ed codes. Questions?
So they've loosened some of these?
Yeah. Some of these are loosened, which is case specifically, but some of them became mandatory, which is the first 5.
So for people in the audience, if a student is expelled from Lammersville Unified School District, what is the outcome?
If a student is expelled from Lammersville Unified School District, the outcome is the students will have to attend a county school, community day school. Basically, we send the student to the county school. They run through the county. Some of them are in Tracy, some of them are in Stockton. County places them based on the kind of incidents, based on space, based on all sorts of things. But then the student becomes actually the county student for that period of time. Student is expelled for a specific period of time, depending on the ed code they broke.
And isn't there a maximum on the amount of time that a student can be expelled for? I think it's a year.
Say it again?
I think it's a year.
Yes, so they're depending on the conduct code, yes. Correct. Maximum is a year. Yes, that's correct.
Well, and while they've loosened the education code, the California Penal Code has not changed.
Yeah.
So
No.
possession
Thank
of a
you.
knife on a school campus is still a misdemeanor.
Yep.
And a student can still be arrested, especially now we have a school resource deputy that will take legal action.
Correct.
I thank you for pointing that out, because I think that we should be pointing out that in a number of these things, what you look at on here, while it may recommend expulsion, it may, the may, at least from my perspective, involve the school resource deputy is not a may.
Correct.
And I would assure the public that that's the case, that criminal acts committed by students are referred to our school resource deputy for investigation.
That's correct. That is correct. And deputy actually does take a report and does give us a case number, and we keep that case number on file, and we work with them. And so that specific one, which is the knife and the drugs and the robbery, those kind of things, the site must recommend. The board may or may not. The expulsion from the board may or may not. So if somebody brings a knife, the school must recommend for expulsion.
Actually, there's a few things that aren't on here.
I have probably a remedial question, but granted, I was one of those kids that was never suspended or expelled, so the difference was kind of trivial to me. But I thought that expulsion was kind of permanent and suspension was temporary, but we were just talking about the fact that expulsion is temporary. Can you just educate me on what the difference is?
Sure. Suspension is student may get suspended for 5 days, 2 days, 3 days, and they come back. Expulsion is if a child gets expelled, you do not get to attend that district. So, for example, within our district, we do not have an expelled school. Basically, some big school districts have a school just for expulsion kids. So, for example, if I'm a student and I got expelled, depending on what did I commit, if I was fighting, if I got expelled for robbery or something, or fighting, I may only get expelled for 1 semester. But if I get expelled for drugs or knife or weapons, those are called date-to-date, which means 1 year. But after that year, then we put the child on probation, they need to meet certain requirements, which means have good behavior, don't get in trouble again, maintain certain point GPA, earn so many credits, then they can apply to come back. So students can come back after their expulsion period.
Understand, thank you.
Yes.
So it may, I'm sorry, go ahead, David.
I have a question, and you may or may not know the answer to this, but according to what's up there on the screen, it says students may be expelled for causing serious physical injury except, I apologize, I misread that. I put knife in that one and in the one that followed it, but it's not. So never mind, go ahead.
So it's been a long time since I've been involved in suspensions and expulsions. Isn't there something that happens when a student has a cumulative total of 20 days or
That's
more
correct.
of suspensions?
Correct.
So what happens at that point?
That point, the student does get expelled for typically a semester plus. So, for example, if it's happening in May or April, usually by the time somebody gets that many suspensions, it is that around that time. So you don't be surprised if you see some number of expulsions going up, especially with high school, by like March, April, May, because if the number of suspensions. So student may get expelled for a semester plus those are not year, and then they'll get expelled until the December of 2017 most probably, and then they can come back in January of 2017. They have to apply. There's a whole process, whole procedure we follow. They have to apply to come back. We meet with them. The parents sign some papers, and we sign some papers, and then the board has to accept them. The board actually can say we don't want to accept them, and we make a recommendation, and the board makes the final decision.
We haven't had any yet, but that's one of
Yes.
the things that we do in closed session.
Touch wood.
We had a couple on the elementary board. Yep. Okay, any other questions? No. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be adjourning here to closed session here momentarily. We have a few things to talk about. Conference with labor negotiators. Also, conference with legal counsel, one pending litigation case, and conference with real property negotiators.
Did you want to go over the calendar, or?
And the calendar's on there. Any other questions on the calendar?
Nope. Well, Noel, you'll get get me the dates for the gate committee, or if we don't have one.
I think there isn't a date, but we'll update everybody on where we're at, just because.
Okay. Then no, I move we adjourn to closed session.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Yeah. Excellent work, an hour, yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, well,